as DJ.
Welcome back to another episode of What's Going On. I'm your host, Demita Joe, and I am back again, yes, for another positivity boost for you guys this week. I hope everybody has been practicing how to pour into their cup first each and every day so that you could be your best for the people that you're around, the people that you support, and the people that you love. It's so important. Oftentimes we, especially in this day and age where people are working multiple jobs and things like that, oftentimes we forget about ourselves. And so I want to make it a point to remind you, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm going to say it to everyone. Every day you should take a little bit of time to pour into your own cup, whether that's meditation, sitting alone, drinking your coffee, having a few minutes to read a book, some exercise, anything where you're blocking out all distractions and doing something for you. It could be a drive down the street, but always remember, just like when riding a plane and something happens and the masks fall down, you can't help anyone until you put what? Yours on first. So pour into your own cup each morning. Just don't forget about you. So as usual, I was cruising these internet streets and I came across a lot of great information today. If you remember last week from RETV Positive News Break with Byron and Nicole, you will remember they did a story about Byron Allen. And so if you have missed that episode, I encourage you to go back to catch last week's episode of RETV News Break. I'm going to add on to that story because Byron Allen obviously is out here doing big things. A site that I go to a lot called thegrio.com, ironically, Byron Allen owns that as well. So he's acquired a lot of things, as you guys know, but back in 2016, he acquired thegrio.com and he took it from less than 1 million active users to a record this past summer of 10.5 million active users. Another thing that they're doing is the Grio TV, where it'll be movies, sitcoms, dramas, concerts, talk shows, variety shows, game shows, and news and lifestyle content, and so much more. One of the interesting things that I found out about him while I was reading the many articles on him is that, so Grio.com, the Grio.com was once owned by NBC Universal, which is ironic because in reading all these things about him, his mom used to be a publicist for NBC back in the day. So he was able to meet a lot of different celebrities that way as well, which probably helped him launch his stand-up career when he was like 14 or 15. I think it was when he got into comedy. He wanted to also point out that the Grio.tv is very special to him because it will not only serve the community, but it will uplift the community as well. An interesting fact about the Grio.tv, the Grio.tv is the first and only 100% African-American owned broadcast television network and free digital platform, making it truly authentic without being filtered or controlled by anyone outside of our community. This is bomb. So in addition to the deal with Google that Tyron and Nicole talked about, Byron Allen plans to invest $10 billion more dollars over the next 2 years, buying up other major media assets. Just think if all of our successful comedians and actors did the same thing, we could make moves. So on to some positive stories that I came across while I was cruising these internet streets. The first story is going to be about Naomi Pascal. Now, this one is interesting because, we're living in a world of craziness right now where we're seeing so many different negative things happen. And so this one was sort of a miracle for this little girl. So this is Naomi Pascal. She was adopted from an Ethiopian orphanage. And her adoptive parents gave her a teddy bear that she, like most kids, became inseparable from. She took it everywhere. And she had it for 4 years. The family visited Glacier Park in Montana last year. And they went on a hiking trail and Naomi lost her bear. She was only 5 then, and you can imagine a 5-year-old child was probably devastated from losing her favorite toy that she had most of her life. Luckily for her, the ranger that patrolled the park ended up finding the teddy bear covered in snow, all wet, and he was able to get the bear. He said there was something about the bear that made him feel like there was a great backstory, and he wanted to preserve that. The ranger made the bear hibernate, and he ended up putting it on his dashboard for a while until one day, one of the adoptive parents made a post on Facebook about 8 months after the bear was lost. So they made an emotional plea to anyone that may have also visited that park and may have seen the bear. And you guys know, if there's anything that the internet can do, is find something, especially when it has to do with the child. That probably moved so many people, and which is why they got the bear back. So there was a family friend who really was bugged by the fact that the kid lost the bear and that nobody had responded to the parent who posted the plea. And so her and her family, the family friend actually went on a vacation to the same park, and she was adamant that she was going to find out something about this bear. And not by coincidence, I guess, she spotted the bear on the dashboard of the ranger's truck. Long story short, they were able to get the bear back from the ranger. The ranger was happy to return it after he heard the story, and they did a video call with Naomi to let her know the bear was on his way back. So she was ecstatic. I think that's cool. Now, if we could get that type of response for a lot of other things, we'd be in good shape. But that's great. So this next story is about Barbie. They're continuing an ongoing Inspiring Women series. So this time they're honoring trailblazing journalist, suffragist, and civil rights activist Ida B. Wells. So the doll depicts her in a floor-length dress holding a miniature replica of the Memphis Free Speech newspaper, a publication where she was both co-owner and editor. I think this is very good because when I was coming up, we didn't have stuff happening like this. And we did have, some black dolls and black Barbies and stuff like that. But to make them in figures such as Ida B. Wells, I think it's a good way to introduce these historical figures to a kid at a young age. So if I had a small kid that was a girl, she would definitely have one of these Barbies. Quick side note about Barbies. I had Barbies, but I have a favorite cousin who used to give me all of her clothes that I used to be so excited to wear because she had the cute outfits and stuff like that. But she also had this outrageous Barbie collection. Everything Barbie, she had it, okay? And so yeah, if they made these things back then, I'm pretty sure we definitely would have had them. Anyway, she's probably laughing at this right now. She watches this, but anyway, moving on. So the next story that I came across cruising these internet streets is more HBCU news. Y'all know I love the HBCUs. So anything that's going on with HBCUs where they're getting money or something great is happening, if I see it, I'm going to talk about it. So this particular story is about Delta Sigma Theta sorority. So Delta Sigma Theta sorority is launching a scholarship program for some Mississippi HBCUs. So Delta Sigma Theta sorority is big on public service. And the Jackson Alumni Chapter is heading up this mission to help Mississippi's HBCU students. So this effort is going to be a fundraising scholarship effort, and they are going to benefit 5 schools in Mississippi: Jackson State, Rusk College, Alcorn State, Tougaloo College, and Mississippi Valley State. So it's going to take place from January to May, and the Jackson-based Deltas are trying to raise $100,000 for the 5 colleges. Now, I feel like, as usual with these stories, that, okay, that's not enough. That's their goal, 100. But when people start giving to this, y'all need to be shooting to give each of the schools at least $100,000. And this is not falling on the sorority at all. That is their goal. But people who are going to be participating in this fundraiser should donate with the notion of we want these schools to have as much money as we can raise. So I'm going to include a link of where you can read about this full article. And also, the campaign launched about 2 weeks ago, and they have already raised over $8,000 of their $100,000 goal. So since donations will be accepted through May 31st, I'm going to go ahead and include the link in the description box, and we can share. As usual, word of mouth is the best advertisement. The name of the fundraiser is When They See Us, HBCUs. Before we get into our Entrepreneur of the Week, I know a lot of people read Essence. So you guys have to have seen Pinky Cole and Derek Hayes on the cover for January, February. And if you don't know who they are, where have you been? Get yourself familiar, especially if you live in Atlanta. Pinky Cole and Derek Hayes are the entrepreneurs behind Slutty Vegan and Big Dave Cheesesteaks. Now, if you're in Atlanta, you probably know about these places, and I'm jealous because, well, I don't eat beef anymore, but I definitely will have some Slutty Vegan. Yes. I'll stand in line and everything. Anyway, according to Essence.com, they now have a love for each other, and they have turned their multi-million-dollar businesses, I'll say that again, these two black people have turned their multi-million-dollar businesses into a family affair. Make sure y'all check out Essence.com. Get it from the grocery store this month. Check it out. Read the article. It's very interesting. Pinky Cole moved to Atlanta to start her businesses, and she moved with like change in her pocket pretty much compared to what she has now, and she started this business. And also, if you watch my episode of What's Going On from last week, you will remember that when I showed y'all that online virtual mall from thevirtualblackmall.com, Slutty Vegan is already participating in that venture. I'll put her Instagram and the other websites associated with this story in the description below, but definitely check them out because she has some good business tips. She has some great stories. She has some great interviews. Definitely familiarize yourself with Pinky Cole. Props to that sister for the way that she's making right now as an entrepreneur. Since we're already talking about entrepreneurs, our entrepreneur for this week is Tia Robertson. Tia Robertson is the mastermind behind the Black Entrepreneurs Network. If you haven't heard about the Black Entrepreneurs Network yet, as usual, I implore you to educate yourself. You ever heard of that saying, if you hang around 9 millionaires, you're bound to be the next millionaire? Well, that's kind of how I view the Black Entrepreneurs Network. It's a gathering of growth-minded entrepreneurs. The goal is to help your business gain stability and build wealth. It's a great thing to look into. They also have a membership, and some of the benefits you get are a private online community where you get things like a listing in an online preferred business directory. You get tips, motivation, networking, of course. There are exclusive member benefits. But to me, the biggest benefit of them all are the resources. The resources are like gold. So, as I said before, if you are not familiar with the Black Entrepreneurs Network, aka tben, TBEN, familiarize yourself and grow your business. The other thing about the Black Entrepreneurs Network is, again, if you watched the last episode of What's Going On, as you should have, you will see there's a show right here on this channel. Every Thursday at 6 p.m., you have to check out The Entrepreneur Insider. Listen, I'm here to just give y'all tips and tell y'all what's going on. This is a segment that I think I'll start including whenever I find something on these internet streets that is too funny to be passed up. Now, this segment is going to be called The Internet is Undefeated. The only group of people that may find this segment today a little bit offensive or not their cup of tea would be anybody who's a Dallas Cowboys fan. So, but I couldn't resist the opportunity because there were some very good memes out there in response to their most recent loss. So we're going to take a look. And that's all I have for you today, folks. We'll see you in the next episode of What's Going On, right here on Relationship Entertainment Television. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hashtag no bad news below, because we don't want no bad news. Peace.
No.
No. But it will uplift the community is what. Okay, no, we got to get this together. No. It's This is crazy. Okay. Her teddy bear that they had been to. So they make. All right. So now I'll be back. Is that right? So nah, I don't know. You got to. And
it's DJ.